ready for my mentor session. My name is Cesar Quintero. I'm the owner of The Profit Recipe here in Miami. And I'm here to, what we do. What we do is we help companies achieve better team health, better planning, and better communication. And I'm here to answer some questions on the Mentor Live session here for AO. And let's get started. All right. I have several from Stella Jenzik from Croatia. The first one is, what do you think successful brands have in common? This is a great question. There's a lot of branding books, a lot of stuff around that, but successful brands, what they have in common is that they understand who their core target is, they understand who they're talking to, and they're unapologetic of who they talk to. So they are willing to sacrifice certain parts of the market to attain the other side of the market. So great brands are top of mind and dictate communication, but most of all, they know their customer, they understand their core customer, the customer who values them, who understands them, who will refer them, who will be dying fans. And one of the ways that they distinguish themselves is by either having a clear purpose, clear values, clear way. Nowadays, it's all about connection. So if you can create a community of people that stand by your brand and really go towards it, the more polarizing, the better, because that way you get die-hard fans and then repellers. And you don't want to go to repellers, but you always want to make sure that die-hard fans, you're talking to them constantly and they're the ones promoting your brand. So I hope that helps. Stella, your second question is, if it is not only paid ads and email marketing, what else do you think I could do so more people find about my brand? So you're a sportswear brand that's been on the market for 18 months. You run ads and new email marketing strategy. What else can you do to reach buyers? It all depends on who your core customer is. So this is tied to your first question. If you understand who are your customers, I would go into your database, understand what they have in common. What are the people that come over and over again? What are people that are referring to you? What are people that are paying top dollar and value what you do? And what I would do is I would try to find commonalities and understand where are they? Where do they go? What pond do I need to go fish, right? So when I was in the food industry for a while, so I needed to understand who my core customer was. And my core customer were people who were struggling to eat healthy in their office. That was exactly the people who I wanted. So I knew exactly where I needed to go. So I had to go in and do door-to-door and in the offices. So I would go to the offices and talk to them. I would do geo-targets in those places as well. Communicate online as well, so that we can have them see the information. So geofencing, ads, also door-to-door communication, direct communication, and even asking your own clients to refer more people like them. So give this to a friend. Referral loyalty programs are also something that can help on that side. So I hope that helps on that. But yeah, I did not grow up in the digital age. So I started my business before Facebook and all of that. And I'm a big proponent on door-to-door. I'm a big proponent on doing promotions, that stuff. How do you leverage that in the digital marketing age is still going and connecting with people and connectors who know who your core customer is, and that you can go and target them, and that way they can send referrals. Your third question here is, what tips can you share about making the afternoon more productive? This is all about time management. So it seems afternoons are slipping away without too much work done. By implementing which habits can you improve? I like to think about focus and priorities as my top thing. What I like to say is I come into the day always understanding what are the top 3 things I need to get done today in order to move forward in my business. So these are 3 strategic things that will push the needle forward. So I always come in to the day understanding what are the top 3 things I need to do. And the day is just going to flow. There's going to be emails. There's going to be chaos. There's going to be a lot of stuff happening. But at the end of the day, If I achieve those 3 things, I'm happy. I'm all about working efficiently and not working too much. So it's about quality and not quantity. So if sometimes you need time to recharge in your afternoons, you can take that time to recharge and dedicate to yourself and your balance. I would use that for that. So I would just understand what are your top priorities and how do you make a life where every morning you understand what are the top 3 things you need to achieve that day. And that'll help you with time management a little bit. All right, let's see, your last question here. How do I communicate when talking to a new supplier in order to get a better deal? I own small sportswear, I'm sourcing manufacturers in Alibaba, and would like to learn how to convince them and working with me or taking me seriously. Stella, yeah, I think one of our jobs as entrepreneurs and leaders is to sell the vision. So I think if we have an aligned vision, a good message, understanding on what is it that I can give and then the vision I have, the more I can sell them on the vision, the more they can join it. I can talk about this in hiring high top talent, closing deals with new vendors, and clients that might not trust your size. But if you sell them on your vision, they can come to your side. In your case, I've never done e-commerce, but I'm thinking Alibaba. There's different manufacturers there. I would just scope around, talk to them, understand who aligns and values. One of the things I love to do when I'm hiring, I always ask them, what do you want to make and what do you need to make? What's the minimum requirement and what do you want? And then the need is, okay, that's where we start. And then the want could be something, a bonus, something extra that we can give them, we can offer them if they achieve a certain thing. So maybe if they achieve a certain level of stock, if they achieve a certain level of delivery time, you give them an extra bonus and you give them something else that could get them to that price that they want. But that way there's some guarantees tied into it where you can negotiate pricing based on their delivery. I'm not sure if this helps, but hope that helps. So, all right, Rohit Gupta, how do I determine prices for my products? So you're an exotic snacks and drinks business. You sell from around the world. Fanda from Japan and China. Right now you're only in e-commerce. We are getting brick and mortar store in December. Our product ranges from 50 cents to $15 to cover rent, utilities, brick, mortar. Does it make sense to increase prices or keep them the way they are? This is a great question. So pricing is all determined by market. So always remember, if you understand who your core customer is, who you're talking to, who's willing to buy that and who see the value in that, I would be market-based. It doesn't matter how much it costs you. It doesn't matter how much your costs are. You need to set your pricing based on what people are willing to pay. So I would look at similar, if you're online, I would look at similar pricing, benchmarking, different pricing and different strategies, and I would do A/B testing on pricing over that, what type of value you're giving. If there's certain commodities, it doesn't seem like yours are commodities, you're more exotics. So I would always look at benchmark. If there's no benchmark, exotics, I would go into the bidding system. I love the bidding system for pricing. Is what's your best offer for this? So an eBay model where I'll put this category and whoever wants it the most pays the most. That's especially unique and good for exotic products. But I would always price, towards market, not price towards cost. So don't do the mistake of pricing towards cost. More towards market. What is the market willing to pay? And if you can't sell it at that, then it's not a good product to have. All right, Jonathan John Baptiste, how do I determine what type of life insurance I should have? I'm a residential real estate agent. I'm looking to maximize my money for my future investments. I hear life insurance is a way, but I'm not sure what type will work best for me. Do you view life insurance as an investment vehicle, or how do you view it? Oh man, this is so I use life insurance as an investment, but this is a polarizing conversation. I have some friends that criticize me to death for it and some friends that really back it up. So there's a book by Garrett Gunderson, Disrupting Sacred Cows, I think, where he explains a whole thing around infinite banking and cash flow management through whole life insurance. I would find someone specialist on that list. somebody who knows how to manage cash flow insurance and infinite banking to ask this question specifically. Most traditional financial arguments would say no. Insurance is not a good vehicle. Would tell you the most traditionalist financial advisors, they would go more with IRA, Roth IRA, and different mechanisms of investing in stock markets and mutual funds. I've diversified. So in my opinion, I like to diversify. I have real estate, I have life insurance, I have market, I have different things, and I'm putting all my eggs in different baskets. I do like the infinite banking concept using a whole life insurance, but it has to be done through somebody who knows how to do it. Because if you go to a regular insurance agent, they won't know how to position the whole life so that you can extra cash it and create it for cash flow. So make sure you get somebody who can understand infinite banking. I have a couple of people, if you want to reach out to me, who I used, and you can look it up. But it is a very controversial subject, so talk to experts and talk to your people to make the right decision. All right, I got Cliff Pollard. When it comes to daily and weekly huddles and team meetings, is the process and flow the same for a company of 2 versus 20? Yes. So here, had a great AO call about team building, daily huddles. We are currently a team of 2. Love the daily huddle. How am I something a little more of team of 2? Are we overthinking it? Yeah, you're overthinking it. So if you really think about it, the purpose of the daily huddle is for a tactical check-in, just to make sure you're not stuck and you can move forward, right? So if you think about daily huddles, it's tactical. Weekly meetings, or it's around solving problems and moving things forward. Quarterly meetings, it's around planning, and annual meetings is around strategy. So if you really think about the daily huddle per se, it's just a check-in. It can be 5 to 15 minutes. Doesn't matter if you're 2 or 200 people. It's just going in and saying, what was the most important thing I did yesterday? This is what the most important thing I need to do today, and what am I stuck in right now where I need help? And then just make it very quick, very fast. Some companies report on a metrics, like if my metric is, I don't know, sales, I would say I sold X yesterday and I'm willing to sell today X, and you can do that, and where am I stuck to get there? So, but just keep it close, concise. It's just a tactical check-in, making sure that we all know where we're doing, where we're stuck, and how we can help each other move forward. So I hope that helps. All right, I got Kimberly Benjamin. How do I determine direct pricing versus wholesale pricing? As a hairstylist, I product retail direct to clients, and there are products I purchase at wholesale that I would like to turn around and wholesale to other stylists. How do I determine what that margin should be for me because of my money selling it to the other clients, but I also like to make a margin? My advantage is, can I buy at a higher volumes to get better pricing from wholesalers than they get? Yeah, if you can buy more. So again, I'm going to go back to my pricing reference I said before. Market drives the price. It's not your cost. So never do cost-based pricing unless you're a commodity. If you're a commodity and everybody has the same product and there's no way to achieve value in different ways, then you only price by cost. But any other product or service, never, your pricing should be attached to your costs. It should really be attached to what the market is willing to pay, right? So what is the market willing to pay? I would ask that. I would A/B test that. I would ask your core customers on who are the ones who are buying it, and just ask them, how much are you willing to pay? What are you willing to put it? You know the retail, right? You know what you sell it for your clients. So what are they willing to put up as a margin? Do they want to make 20% of the product, 30% of the product? Do they want 50% of the product? The original way that retailers and wholesalers would do this is at wholesale is at least 2 times costs. And that way retail is 4 times. Restaurants are very clear on this. So the glass of wine is typically the cost of the bottle for the restaurant. So that's a standard for all restaurants. That's how the way they use it. So if you buy a wine in the restaurant, you know that that's the cost of a glass. So that way they get 4 glasses by a bottle of wine. So that's the way they do it. That's the traditional way of costing. But I would always prefer to ask, who is your core customer? how much are they willing to pay, and don't leave that in the gap, right? So airlines are great at this. Airlines have a different price for every single seat in the airplane because they're constantly A/B testing and checking what are people willing to pay, when, and how. So make sure you understand who your core customer is, and ask them, do some A/B testing. Hey, if I sell it at this and you sell it at that, does that work, or this or that? And then start checking that out. I prefer doing that than going by cost. All right, Liana Kolinsky. How do I set up overnight shipping for perishable goods on my Shopify site? Whoa, I have recently built my Shopify website and would like to accommodate clients with the ability to place caviar orders. Business ship nationwide, but all shipments must be handled by me. I'd like to understand how to use Shopify shipment to give accurate. I have not used Shopify. I do not have an e-commerce or have not have an e-commerce site. So I'll send this to Sean and the team so they can get another mentor who has e-commerce or Shopify to use this. But yeah, I did have meals we shipped, but very different than your question here. So sorry about that. All right, should I be sending caviar as marketing strategy to big names that reach out to me inquiring about caviar? So Liana, your question is, we specialize in black caviar and other exclusive items. Recently, AJ Dillon, running back for the Green Egg Packers, reached out to us about caviar, but did not go through with ordering. I was wondering if it would be a good idea to send him the caviar as a gift in hopes to earn his trust and gain the relationship with him. Similar to how nowadays brands will send influencers and celebrities. Yeah, I love this idea. The more creative you can get, the better. There's a book called Giftology where they talk a lot about thinking about your customers and what they would like and people you connect with and people you do. If you think this is a strategic person, I would say, what is the benefit? Like, what will A.G. Dillon do for you with a caviar? If it's just your ego that he buys it from you and you're his resource, yeah, but like, how can you leverage that relationship so that he can help you sell more caviar, right? So I would think first on the end. What's the end in mind? What do I want him to do? And then send it as a gift, and maybe ask him, for the favor, or doing different ways, but establishing the connection. And sometimes helping first always works. You can always give something first, and then they'll react and ask how they can contribute and give back the favor. Just understand when we do marketing tactics like this and guerrilla marketing and different types of marketing, what I like to ask myself is, number one, what's the purpose of this? And number two, what is a good return on investment of this? How am I willing to spend or give away? And then how much am I expecting to get in return? If I'm not expecting to get anything in return, then send it. If I'm expecting him to do something for me, I would position that as part of the message and understanding of why you're sending that gift. So it's really understanding why you're doing what you're doing and what's the ROI you want from that. So I hope that helps. Roselli Akloki, I have here. How can I become more comfortable networking with wealthy individuals? I own a full-service accounting firm, and we help small business owners with all their accounting needs. As I am networking in the community, I have been invited to places that I feel like a fish out of water due to the financial status of the people that are attending. I would like to overcome the imposter syndrome and feel like I belong. I think this is all of us, Roselli. I think if you're being invited to these events, is because people are seeing that you're a peer. So imposter syndrome is not a negative thing. I always like to use imposter syndrome as somebody who's standing beside me and checking my ego. But at the same time, I don't let imposter syndrome stop me from doing the things I need to do, right? So I think imposter syndrome motivates us to get to where we need to. I think all of us have a dose of imposter syndrome that we need to have. But how do you become more comfortable? I think it's all about a mindset. I think it's a limiting belief. I think the way I'll share from experience, the way I became more comfortable is everybody has a story. Nobody has the same story, and nobody's better than anyone. I think we all are born equal, and what happens in life, if you were born to a rich family or not, or you grew into a rich, like, I don't think our set of values determine on how you were born or raised. I think a lot of it is how do you show up, and how do you, it's just by being authentic, by embracing who you are, and being that's I think what made me network in these circles, where I'm just me, and I'm not going to be apologetic about it. I'm trying not to fit in. I'm trying to be me first and foremost, and then connect with authenticity. So that's what I try to do. But imposter syndrome is very healthy. I think imposter syndrome keeps our ego at the door, and at the same time gets us to a best place. But I think what people are looking for nowadays, it's more authenticity. It's not so much of the, showing the book of business or who you hang out with and name dropping. I think people are more about authenticity and connection. So everybody's trying to look for that connection, especially in networking events where there's a formulaic way of what do you do and how do you do that and where do you go, and like the same polite questions. I think every time I disrupt that question with a more thought-provoking or a different type of answer, it drives meaningful conversations. And I think once you start doing that and connecting more authentically, I think it'll be easier for you to network in any type of scenario and circumstance. I hope that helps, Roseli. All right, so that was our last question here. I hope this was helpful, and let's hit stop.